Still at Boxing Bugs. I had to open this up and kind of set this over here so that I could get to the audio board, because I'm looking at the encoder section of this thing and it doesn't work. You can see I'll coin up and start. And you'll see I'll do the trackball when it starts. No movement. It doesn't move. So I was like, well, what's going on? Is this not... Will the trackball not work with this? I'm going to reset it. I'm going to turn it off, turn it back on. Okay. So I was thinking, is this not... I mean, will this just not work with it? And the answer to that is, let me... Where is my... let me grab the tripod. Space Invaders. I'm going to point you up at the oscilloscope. And you shall see what I see. Okay. When I move this, first off, let's look at the schematic. Up here, you'll see where it says output. Output A and output B. Those outputs come from these TL081s on pin 6. Those are connected directly to the trackball. So if I move the trackball, I should see movement on pin 6. So I will do that. I will zoom in and I'll put my probes, the scope probe on pin 6, and I'll move the trackball. Pin 6. See that? Nice perfect square wave. That's pin 6 of one of the amps, and here's pin 6 of the other amp. See, that looks perfect. Nice short pulses for quick movements, and long pulses for slow movements. It's working perfectly. So the op amps are not a problem, but something is, because this isn't doing anything. So I got to look at this schematic a little further and find out what's up. So let me do that. Let me study this a little bit, and I'll be back. Okay, I think I've found my problem. Over here, U8. Data on U8 on pin 2 is this HID plus. That is just pulled high through a resistor. So it's always high, it's not a signal. And that's pulling these all high, and it's pulling data high on this one. So here we have the preset is high all the time. You can see it's pulled high, preset is. Clear is hooked to this guy at the end of this chain. So it works in this chain. So how this chip works, how this circuit works, is the only time that 5 will toggle is, number one, well, you got these clock signals right here, but this won't do anything until you move the trackball. See, this clock is directly connected to the trackball. That's pin 3. I'll show you that. Oh, if I can. Let me, you know what? Let me grab one of these things so that I can do this. There we go. Grab this guy. I'll clip this onto U8. I'll put this on my probe. And we'll go to pin 3, right? Is that what I wanted? No, it's not. I wanted pin 2. I want the clock. I want to show you the clock, I think. Right? No, pin 2 is data. I do want to show you the clock, and that's pin 3. Okay. Now you see, I moved the trackball. There's our clock on that chip. That's clocking that flip-flop. And here's, remember, pin 1. Pin 1 is always high. It's tied high. As is data on pin 2. It's also tied high. And 4 is high until the end of that chain, remember? Until the end of this chain here. And that clear, that count clear signal comes over and it clears all of these flops. So that one is high. You can see it's high as well. And here is Q. Q is always low. And not Q is always high. But I'm going to put my probe, clip it to not, or to Q. It's this count flag signal right there on pin 5, and that. Now how this works is if pin 4 and pin 1 are both high, data is high, whenever this flip-flop is clocked, whatever's on data will go to Q. So when I move the trackball, Q should go high. And it's not. That thing is stuck low. So I'm going to replace this guy right here and see if our trackball movement comes back. I'm going old school with the solder sucker. I didn't want to wait around for that whatchamacallit, the desoldering gun. Imagine for years and years and years this was what I used when we're doing chips and whatnot. I've already done one row. I'll show you how fast I can go through and do 8 of these things with this. Pretty good with this thing. Like I said, I got a lot of practice. Oops, slipped. That's not bad. Just check it out. Yeah. Not bad work. Every now and again, I just didn't want to wait to heat up the desoldering gun, so I get to use that thing every now and again. So we'll put a socket in there, put a new 74 in there, and see what we get. See if the rest of these 74s are any good. It's kind of worrisome. We'll see. And we're back together once again. I got the new 74 in the board underneath there. I don't know if you can see underneath there. You see that chip in the socket? Is that it? Yeah, that's the 74. Let's go ahead and coin this thing up. Bing. Start. And move the trackball. Alright, look at that. So we have fixed our no encoder issue. Sweet. Okay, that takes care of that. Now I think we're ready to get on to sound test, because we've got punch. That's probably game over. Yep. Let's do, yeah. Okay, we have punch, cannon, and panic. Punch, cannon, panic, and we got movement on the trackball, the encoder. So we're good to go. Good to go. We have eliminated that board, that ROM board. We eliminated that with them connectors and did away with that. Fixed that. This board has been completely rebuilt with new amps. So I'm going to go through and we'll have to flip this guy back over. This board here, this top board, have to be flipped over. And I'm going to go, or maybe even removed. I think you do the tests with everything removed, to be honest. I don't know. I'm going to look into it and we will do our sound tests, and I will record sounds. Because I looked in the MAME directory, they do have Boxing Bug samples named, but there's no sound files. Like there's if you go into the MAME directory for samples set for Boxing Bugs, you'll see the names of all of the samples, but there aren't samples. There's no sounds. If you try to listen to what they have in the directory, there's nothing there. So, and I actually did do the music. I recorded the music, that do 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 do. I recorded that. I converted that to waveform and I put it in MAME. And it's cool because when you start the game in MAME, now you hear do do do, you hear that, but it's not very good. They have to work on it. They have to fine tune the implementing of the samples, and now that they'll have samples, they can do that. So it'll be really cool. So they preliminarily do have it started to where they have the samples set to go off at certain times, but it just doesn't work very good. So yeah, I'll show that too. You know what? Since it's fresh in my mind, I'll go set the camera up in MAME, because I now have that music sample is in my MAME samples directory. So I will take you over there and I'll show you that. Okay, this is my MAME samples directory, and right here you can see I've got Boxing Bugs unzipped. And like I said, they have all of these named, but there's nothing there. Like if I try to check out Canon, there's nothing here. Hit play as much as you want. It won't do nothing. But if I went and I did the music, I recorded it and then I converted it to wave and I put it in here, and this is what I recorded. How cool is that? And now let's go in. I'll go into MAME and we'll do Boxing Bugs. Okay, and now let me coin it up and start. Now it'll do the music as soon as I start. Hear that? Let's do it again. I'm gonna go back in and do it again. It sounds kind of weird. Like I said, they need to work on how it, they need to work on it, but yeah. Coin it up, and now let's start and listen. So that's that. They'll have all of those samples to work with. It will be really super cool. All right, I'm going to get set up to start doing sound tests. Oh, boxing bugs, why must you be such a pain in the arse? This thing is still randomly resetting. And even after I did the mod, which this is better anyway. 2 ROMs is better than 8 ROMs and 6 ribbon cable connections. That's just way better. But it still randomly resets. So that wasn't the issue. I tried running this thing with a new RAM right here. It's still reset. It's not the RAM. I just tried new ALU chips. It's not the ALU chips. And it's so random that it's about impossible to figure out what it is. I went back and I put the Armor Attack ROMs back in the board. After doing this, I just kind of lifted these up, put the Armor Attack ROMs in it, and I ran it again with the soundboard unhooked, unpowered, just Armor Attack and the interface board putting out to the monitor, and it reset. I've got, you know, and it had reset. So it's not that. It's not the ROMs. It's not the ROM code. Because I was beginning to think, because at one point I put Armor Attack ROMs in and it ran for an hour without resetting. That's how random this is. And how scarce it is. It hardly ever does it. It makes it almost impossible to fix this without just replacing stuff. To be honest. Is you can't set up and analyze anything. I wish it would just completely die. But it won't. It runs and runs and runs. I had this thing on for hours and hours and hours, trying to get it to just die. But it won't. I don't know. So, yeah, I'm sitting here just kind of racking my head. Anything that was socketed, I put new chips in it, ran it. Still reset. So there is something that is funky on this board, and I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to just start replacing stuff one section at a time until I find whatever it is that flakes out once in a great while and causes it to reset. You know, it's super irritating, to be honest. I don't know. I'm going to do one section at a time, though. If I come over to the schematic, I've got it pulled up, and you'll see the board is sectioned off. You see where it says inputs, and you know, it's kind of cool how it has this all sectioned off like this. Like proceed. I can go through and move. Let me grab this controller. I'm sorry, I can't do this with one hand. But it has the sections kind of labeled off of what's what. So I'm going to go through, like there's a section called sequence, you know, that has to do with, I'm going to try to stay away from video stuff because I don't think that's it. And it could be input stuff, but I don't think so. I think it had something to do with the CPU type control stuff. The sequencing, I think, is what it's in. So I'm going to start replacing stuff one section at a time until I hit on what it is. I don't really see any other way. Because this is, I mean, it is so random. It could run for 25, 30 minutes without resetting and then just reset. And then run for another hour. You know, it's ridiculous. It's impossible. It is impossible. Well, I'm not going to say that it ran for an hour. It did one time with Armor Attack in it. But for the most part, it resets every 5 to 10 minutes. You know. Like I will put, I don't know, did I put coins in it before I started this video? I think I did. waiting for the next screen. Should have credits. And it does. So it's been, since I've had this video, maybe a couple minutes before I started filming this segment of the video. See, it'll go a while without resetting. You know, let me turn this light off. I'd love to catch a reset. You'll see that light go high and then back to low. This thing just likes to do that. I don't know. It's due for a reset. So I'm going to hang out here for a minute. It may reset, it may not. It is totally due for a reset though. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, who knows? As soon as I turn the camera off, it'll probably reset. But I'm going to look at the sequence circuitry first. And I know most of the frequency. Most of the sequence circuitry is right here in these bipolar ROMs. And then there's some logic up here that is included in that. So that's what I will look at first and foremost is sequence. And I'm not going to bother analyzing anything because everything's going to look good because this thing is running. It's running perfect. It's just something fails at some point. And yeah, I don't know. So, well, I will look around and dig around on this thing and hopefully find something. I'm trying to hang out and kill time so this thing, you see it reset, but it doesn't want to reset right now. So, nice. Hopefully it just dies. That would be great. That would be great if it just totally failed. It'd be easy. It'd be a lot easier to figure out what was wrong with it. So, but nope. All right. We'll see you later. I'm going to really concentrate on these Cinematronics logic chips because they're pretty problemsome, you know, and it can be deceptive because Texas Instruments fail too, but not as much as the others. So that's where I'll start. Okay, I went, because I have this problem with this board, I can't really hone in on what's wrong with it because it only resets absolutely randomly and very infrequently. So it's about impossible to track down what's really wrong with it. So what I did was I looked at this part of the schematic, which is not this part. Yeah, this part. This part of the schematic, which is a lot. It's in the sequence part of the you know, the kind of the brain part. Aside from the ALU and memory, this is kind of what is running the show. All of this logic. I've already replaced all these bipolar ROMs. So I went ahead and basically replaced most of the logic on this sheet. You can see all of these sockets. It's all in this area. From here over to here, here, all of this, these two guys, and these two guys. I replaced all of that. And if it resets, I'm going to move on and I'm going to look at memory control and stuff like that. And I will replace that stuff. It's just one thing at a time. I'm doing control logic, all of the system kind of management and whatnot, and then I'm going to move on to memory control if it resets again, until I figure out what it is that is making this thing reset. So, fun. Sometimes this is all you can do when you've got something totally random like this that you can't put your finger on. You just have to go through systematically and replace stuff. Sucks, it's not very scientific, but there is no being scientific with something like this where it just is ridiculously random. So alright, I'll report back. Hopefully it's just after 6 o'clock. I turned this on and put credits on it and played a game, put a score on there. It was about 6:05 to 6:10. And you can see it's got 4 credits and it's blinking. Press start, press start. I got a score of about 8100 up on there. Now I'm just going to let it go. And hopefully it does not reset. We'll see. It is time for an update, everybody. It is now 7:05 p.m. It has been 1 hour since I turned this on. And let's look. What do you think? Do you think our credits and stuff are still on there? Our 8100 or whatever it was, the game that we played? Look at that, 8100. There's my game. Check that out. There's our 8100. The coins are still in it. This thing has not reset. Yay! Yay! We're going to let it keep going, and I'll check back in another hour. Hopefully it's still the same way. But I think from what I have experienced with this board, I think we're all set. Because the problem, this thing would have reset 5 times already. So that control logic, all of that kind of control stuff, I believe is where the problem was, obviously. So I will check back in 1 more hour. 8:05, I'll be back. Alright, we look at the phone. It is, look at that cat, 8:05. 8:05. 2 hours. It's been 2 hours exactly since I turned this on, put 5 credits in it, and played a game and scored 8,100 points. Look at that. There's my 8,100 points. And there's the 4 credits. No resets. 2 hours, I'm calling it good. We fixed it. It was not scientific at all, but we knew where to look. I knew where to look, and I knew where to start looking. All of the control logic on that page, on that one schematic there. Turns out I replaced 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 chips. 16 chips in this bottom little triangle of the board. And reminder, I've replaced all of these already, the bipolars. So this thing is now finally solid. That was the issue of the whole resetting. This thing would not run hardly at all without resetting, but it wouldn't fail. It wouldn't flat out fail. It would just reset. And that's about impossible to find. Where do you look? Every chip and wait for it to reset. That was the problem. It didn't reset at any specific time in the code. It would reset totally random. So it's really about impossible to find. So, shotgun. Whatever. It's working. It's fixed. And it makes me really happy. I could not send this back with it resetting like that. So that's good. This is good now. It's been 2 hours. And I'm going to continue to let it go. But I'm going to shift my focus now to the audio board, testing audio. I got a comment about hooking up the line into a PC or something right from the amps. I don't know how to do that. I just don't. I'm not that savvy about audio stuff, you know. I'm really not. So it's not my foray. Or my forte, whatever you call it. It's not my forte. But yeah. But I think what I am going to do as a preventative, there are some op amps, some TL081s on here that I think I'll replace on this board. I think that I'll go ahead and just preempt, you know, go ahead and replace some of that stuff. And then I got to do my sound test. I got to get on the schematic. Now that I don't have to worry about the resetting nonsense, I will get on the schematic and learn about how to go about doing these tests for the sounds. So, yeah. All right. Excellent. Since I got this guy going now, I think I'll try playing a little bit. It's about impossible for me to play this because in my left hand, I got my Atari joystick, and the button is punch, up is cannon, and down is panic, I think. And then I got my trackball over here for moving. So I'll try it, but it's about impossible, but it's still fun. This is awesome. Get out of here! This is incredibly cool. Uh-oh. Get back here. How freaking awesome is that? Oh, I'm still playing. Yeah. Yeah. I have 0 panics left. Damn! Ugh. Game over. This is cool. New high score. I am the champ. Wow. This is an amazing game. That killed me when that Jack in the Box song came on and then that bug got punched and destroyed. That killed me. That was hilarious. Wow, this is awesome. I gotta say, this is ranking up there with my favorite vector game right here. Just imagine with a good control panel where you can actually control it, how cool it would be. That is an amazing game. Wow. Excellent. Okay, we're going to move on to the sound tests. I know all the sounds are there. You could hear them all. So it's not really a sound test as much as it is a sound recording, which I don't think I'm going to do that on camera. I just rest assured I am going to do it since I have this opportunity. I probably will never have this opportunity again to do this. So I will do my best to record these. I know there's better ways to do it, but this is just how I know how to do it. It's just to record from the speaker by activating the sounds. It's better than what is out there now. So that's how I'm going to do it. But yeah, this is so cool. All right. Guys, thanks for watching. What did we do here? Let's do a recap. This board had 2 bad RAM. The ROM board, which probably wasn't flaky, to be honest with you. I mean, it probably would be good, but of course, if the owner would like, I'm going to send it back like this. But all you have to do is either clip or unsolder where this wire is soldered to 5 volts. Remove the grounds, the 2 ground wires. Remove the little black and brown jumpers and put your ROM board back on. I'll send the standoffs back with it and everything. If they want to do that, they can, but I like it better like this. For obvious reasons, it's way nicer. But yeah, that is getting sent back the way it is, and it's rebuilt, so it should be good as long as your cables stay good. You eliminate the cables with this. So 16 chips fixed that resetting. Bipolar ROMs are all new. I swapped the dip switch. These 3 chips that were socketed to begin with, I replaced. These guys were cleaned. The sockets were replaced. These 5 sockets are replaced. I think that's it for this board. This one, all of the TL081 op amps have been replaced, and all of the caps have been replaced. And the sockets for the DACs and the LF1331 have been replaced, and the LF13331 was bad. It was no good. So I replaced the 2 voltage regulators on this board. I guess the only thing, these 2 have been replaced. Looks somewhat recently, so I'm not going to mess with those. But yeah, excellent. This thing's good to go now. I'm confident. There's a couple of TL081 op amps on this board I might replace. I don't know. Super cool. But I'm going to end this repair, part 4. It's a success now. This thing is no longer resetting. It's playing perfect. I got the trackball working great now. That was another thing on this board. The trackball, the encoder circuitry is on this board. And it did not work. It was a bad 74LS74. Fixed that. That's about it, honestly. Yeah, boxing bugs. How awesome is that? Alright guys, I'm going to end this one here. As always, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you're not, please. That would be great. And we'll see you on the next Classic Arcade Repair. Boxing bugs.